So my presentation is nothing new. We all are following the same e-learning in our classrooms and the e-learning that is happening in our classrooms. So please give your inputs, what all you are using in your classroom to foster learning. The pandemic has brought us into the lockdown. Again, we are locked up into our homes and very efficiently taking our classes through the e-portal. There has been no learning gaps, and credit goes to all the wonderful educators who have left no stone unturned during this pandemic. So, technology ushers in fundamental structural changes into teaching, learning, pedagogy that can be integral to achieving significant improvements in productivity in student learning. And we all know that technology is being used to support both teaching, learning, and also it is infusing our classrooms with digital learning tools. So we have computers, we have our handheld devices, so whatever is convenient to whosoever, and it expands course offering experiences. So there is a lot more available to us at the click of a mouse, and learning materials also available to us. It also supports learning 24 hours. So yes, now gone are the days when there were school timings. Yes, we are following set timetable, the when the classes are being held. Apart from that, the teachers can be accessed to, and students are teachers welcome students if they have any doubts regarding anything, and they can discuss with their teachers. So we see that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we are all building 21st century skills in our students, collaborating, communicating effectively with each other. So we are increasing student engagement and motivation. Thus, we are accelerating learning. So this is the power of technology, that we are not bound at with times and the traffic, the communication, the commuting thing. It is very easy to reach out to the students and the teachers as well. So the technology has the power to, have a new model of connected teaching. So when I'm saying connected teaching, so I am mentioning to the content resources available and the systems that are available for teachers as well as students. And teachers are also enhancing their personal development because of these digital tools available to us. So online learning opportunities and use of the educational resources and other technologies have really increased educational productivity by accelerating the rate of learning and better utilizing the teacher's time. So when we are talking about e-learning, so it is very important for us that our learning is very conscious. It has to be an active learning. It is not that we just have to deliver our lesson and the teaching has happened. So the teacher has to ensure that online learning is actively being followed. So we follow the strategies which are very active. So the teacher has to be sure what she is teaching and what would the children learn out of it. What they are learning out of it matters the most. So our learning outcomes, our learning objectives become very important as to how they are going to benefit our children. And we have to really be very sure what information are they going to encounter. They are going to do Google searches, so they should be aware of how much is correct, how much is biased, how much should they know and how much should they not know. So by watching videos, reading PDFs in advance, or short presentations which we give in on our Zoom, Google Meet and Teams meeting. So we have to be very sure what all they are going to encounter and what all engaging tools they will have that will give them information and ideas. It is very good that we have the the breakout rooms. The students are collaborating on online Word, on OneNote and Google Docs. So this all is a part of our active learning. So it is not just delivering lectures and the students sitting back and listening to the teachers, but actively being involved in the classroom is very, very important. After our lessons are done, it is very important to reflect on the learning. The feedback, the recapitulation that we used to have in our physical classrooms, it is very important to have it right now as well. Whatever concept you've taken up in your classroom with your active strategies. So one part is your reflection as well, that whatever the concept has been taught has been taken up well by the children or not. You have laid the bricks, then it is the time to cement them. So have the learning objectives been achieved is very important for us to know. So now online education, which is a big part of the school environments these days, many students are, yes, they are able to access the new knowledge and learn online. We are using different methods of teaching. We must even share our lesson plans with our students, that what are we going to do with them? What will be the outcomes of it? What are they going to learn from all these? So it is better that we make our children, responsible for their own learnings also. And how can they be responsible towards their learning? So it becomes very boring for them. You've given an assignment to them and then you tell them, please submit a PDF for checking. So to remove that monotony and to imbibe 21st century learning skills in them, we can even ask them to submit your assignments as blogs. They will become more conscious. They will become more conscious because their assignment is not just being read by their teacher. It is being read by their peer, by the community at large. And it is very easy to, have a blog account. You go to www.blog.com and you create your blog account and you write blogs. So it is like very early we begin with our children growing up faster now. So we have to, adapt them to get used to these globalized way of learning, the globalized environment wherein we have this practice, and taking their feedbacks, their activities on videos is again a very good feature, which whoever we all are using the Microsoft Teams, Microsoft apps, please mute yourself. All right. So yes, we have Flipgrid. In the Flipgrid, the students can make their videos and voice their opinions. There are some who are shy ones. Uh, Two things have happened. The shy ones have opened up, like they were shy to speak in the class, but now they are giving their voices, their opinions, and participating very happily on Flipgrid. All right. We have many podcasts also coming now. So in the podcast also, the children are getting, who are very fascinated, who really love to listen themselves, who want that to participate. They create their own podcasts. So the teaching has become very interesting if it is taken in that manner. So there are like problem solving. Uh, the gamification has really, made children think critically, to create their own world and to solve the real problem world. So like content teaching is happening through their books, yes. But when it's now that we have to make them aware of the real world problems as well, that they have to face and they have to solve them. Like these days, we begin our SDG teachings in our schools. So when we are teaching them, we are sensitizing them young. We are showing them what kind of problems that are being faced in the world these days. And these somebody else is in the control of the presentation. So that has to be, has to be seen that the children are taken young, and they are involved in the activities that are happening around, and they really listen to them, adhere to them, and you can record and play back when they are participating. This also gives them a boost, high, to really know, yes, and when they hear themselves, they become conscious of themselves and they want to perform better. We have to have the interactive attendance, the mood boards in the classroom. We have the whiteboards available with us. I'm sure most of us would be using them in the classroom. In the classroom, just let it be open. As soon as the children come to the classroom, instead of taking the roll call, we can ask them, yes, children, draw your mood. Let us know, how are you feeling today? So that again catches their mood. So coming to the like fostering independent learning, we have followed the active strategies. We have seen how to engage the students in our e-learning. So now all the more important it becomes that we foster independent learning. So what we have seen that in K to 12 classrooms, at times still, students are spoon fed with information, but this outdated approach to instruction does not teach them to become independent learners and problem solvers. So this distinction is very important. The test centered courses, when we really tell them to sit and get it approach, and the testing will not go away. We have that, but we are also seeing new testing schemes also coming up. So now here also, we also have to teach children the ways that they learn to, we can also say that, yes, we can also stop the spoon feeding, because it does not elicit any awe and wonder in them. And simply imparting information just fails to engage students, but it also leaves them unprepared to navigate a world in which the problems do not have, nice and neat solutions. So rather than giving students information, we educators should be giving them tools and skills, so that they will, so those skills they will need to learn, think critically, and solve real life world problems. So I have already discussed with you about the SDGs, and like fostering independent learning prepares students for 21st century learners. These are our futuristic skills, and it helps them participate in a democratic society, and it ensures that students will continue learning long, after they have graduated also. So like, we are still the learners. We have learned so much in this pandemic, each one of us handling technology by our own self. So these are all, keys to foster independent learning. So they should know that what is the priority that we should get. The students are open, so many tools are open to them, so getting the right information at the right time should be a priority number one for them. Students have to learn to perform sophisticated, like, yes, we know they search everything in Google, so we must tell them how to narrow down their queries, and specifically which domains or files should they take, and they must learn how to research a topic using multiple sources, and they must understand how to critically evaluate the information that they find. So students also learn not to take everything as they read as the truth, so they will become critical of the information that is available to them. So when an educator shows them flaws and the bias that might exist in a paper or what online they find, it's an inspiring experience for the student. And students learn to read with their own critical judgment, which is invaluable to becoming a lifelong learner. And we must develop in our students the lines of inquiry To become independent, learners must learn how to ask thought-provoking, insightful, questions. So they must, at least they should be able to ask you 50 odd questions that yes, uh, you should get tired of answering them, but they should not get tired of asking you that what all is there. So there is no better or work experience in learning. The deeper lines of inquiry are best developed through their own ideas, and that really helps them to exercise the foundations of research techniques. So we are in that mode that we really want our students to have actively learn and engage in learning, and also foster learning independently. So they must learn how to collaborate and learn from others. So becoming an independent learner also requires understanding on how to work with and learn from each other. It is very important to collaborate these days. So we do not just learn from the books and the internet. We are also learning by communication with our peers and with experts in the field. Students should learn how to collaborate with others and cultivate a personal learning network of peers and experts whom they turn to for advice and support. With global development turning everyone into global citizen, peer learning and cross-cultural mindfulness will be the key to individual success. The future will favor those who can understand, communicate with, and team up with others in the network. So this is so very important when we say imbibing the 4 C's in them, the 4 C's of critical thinking, creatively thinking, collaborating with one another, and creative and effectively communicating with each other. So this is the reason why we should hold, as educators, peer learning sessions where scholars are obligated to learn about their peers, research topics, and offer feedback to each other. Also teachers, we must learn to shift their roles. I think most of us do follow this strategy that we do the flip teaching. So we are fostering independent learners, the shift in the habit and the culture of the classroom. So at times, yes, you can give them a topic that today you are going to take it up. You are going to take up the control over the flow of information. So this takes a step forward, and the teachers should challenge students with authentic problems and open-ended questions. So when you already draw a boundary that this is what is expected out of them. So the children, their thinking parameters are also just limited. So the teachers must give open-ended questions wherein the students would also be bound, be made to think that way. So standardized tests increasingly, dominating students' academic lives, it becomes a norm that most of the problems presented to students are perceived to have a right or a wrong answer. So there can be something in between as well, that yes, they can give their opinion. There can. So when we are talking about bringing creativity in our students, if we are just keeping them in right or wrong, so where are we giving them the possibility of being creative? How do children become creative? Yes, our tests are such that we expect right or wrong, but in our classroom we can give them this possibility, this freedom, this liberty to make mistakes and learn. So how do the creativity, comes in? The creativity comes in when the child learns from his or her own mistakes, and we allow the child to make mistakes. So this is so very important. So when students are challenged to explore open-ended questions that have some real-world relevance, they develop the skills and habits they will need to take on challenges in their lives. And their passion for learning is also ignited. So I'm going to talk to you about the, much spoken about, much worrisome thing that is really bothering us as teachers, as parents, the social and emotional learning. It is so important that our children empathize with each other. They are not into the social bonding from past more than 1.5 years. They have been stuck in their homes with their families, where there are big families. Yes, we understand. They interact and they have people to converse with. But those living in nuclear families, like now, it's like half the pandemic, the parents have started going to the offices, or they are taking their work from home, so they are confined to do their own rooms. So what about the children? Children are at a very sensitive stage. They are a very sensitive stage when they do not have anybody to discuss with. The classes that are happening, yes, are happening. The teachers are doing up their syllabuses, but what about the social emotional learning, the very important aspect that has to be really seen into while we are taking our classes? Yes, we have our syllabuses to complete, we have our deadlines to follow, but we should not follow that 5 to 10 minutes of talking with our student really matters, really makes a difference. So there are very few people who understand the importance of social and emotional learning, and it really matters in the early stages of the child. So this aspect of childhood learning is what really, helps children uh, to develop empathy, as I said, communication and other skills, and allows them to build strong relationships with others. And according to the CASEL, if you would have heard, just the CASEL, the Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning, how much importance is given to the social and emotional learning, that it is part of our teaching learning process only. So while we are teaching, we should not forget this aspect. We need to be very kind to our students. We have to be very conscious about what we speak, how we speak. Use a lot of your emojis. This makes a lot of difference. The children, uh, catch the emoji. They come to know about what are you thinking? So this is a very important aspect these days. So better social interactions, and it is evidence, and there are reports that teachers, fellow students, family members, community members, they all should help each other for the positive behavior, and this also helps in the lifespan, because the children have to be aware, they have to be self-aware of their weaknesses, of their strengths. Making use of their strengths and working upon their weaknesses will really, take them a long way. They have to know that they have to self-manage. There wouldn't be anybody else to manage them. That accounts for everything. The time management, they have to manage their time of sleeping, getting up, being ready for the class, not missing the morning classes, that getting up late. So they have to be responsible. They have to be made responsible for all the decisions that they take up during their lifespan. And the student life is the most important lifetime of the child, because this is where your habits are developed. Your habits are developed. So what they say, that watch out your actions, they become your habits, and habits become your character. So this is the time that the student have to follow a disciplined life, and we cannot do away with it saying that yes, we are in the pandemic. So what if we are in the pandemic? This is an important feature that we must all take into recognition, and relationship skills matter. The student and the teacher relationship matters. So it's our job is not just the teaching. We are at one time the counselor, the facilitator, the mother, the parent, the educator. We are all in one. So we must justify all our roles, that we do them very nicely. We play all the roles. We have to make children socially aware what's going on around the world. Now there is global exposure, so we are not confined to our homes, our schools, our state, our country. So we are in a global world, so it's the global community is our home now. So all these five things are critical for success. So whether the student is in online school or whether we go back to our school, so we must be aware that these five skills the student masters, and we play a big role, teachers, when it comes to social emotional learning. Each child is different, each child is unique, and we have to ensure that we respect the uniqueness of the child. We cannot compare the two. Everybody, studies, does everything on their pace. So thankfully, in this pandemic, the children are getting that space. They are getting that space. They are not in a hurry to, they are studying at their own pace, doing things at their own liberty. But yes, we need to tell them the deadlines have to be met. Some protocols have to be followed. So discipline. So the teachers that time you cannot be strict with them, but with stiffness we can teach them that yes, they have a long way to go. We have so many tools that we have come across. We have for our social emotional learning, when we talk about gamification, we talk about the Kahoot, we talk about the Minecraft. These all are, the pent up emotions of the students, they all get vented out. So this is very important that we engage our students in a very, in a manner that they reach out, they achieve the objective, the outcome we have planned for them. What we have planned for them is also achieved, and by virtue of it, our child is also in a win-win situation. Okay. So, working in a virtual classroom requires patience, and we must begin with simple, low-stake activities, and our students get comfortable with the new format is our duty, and we must provide time and opportunity for our students to ask questions, because eventually the instructors and the students will all gain proficiency with these online tools, and we seek to minimize barriers that students may face to participate in the activities that we have planned for our online classes. So factors to consider should include access to reliable technology. Be sure that it is a secured environment where you are teaching your children, so they do not feel, that they are being bullied or something. There should be conducive spaces, and students' physical and mental abilities are taken care of. So before whatever new technology, new tool, new app you are introducing in your class, do make a test run of each activity you plan to use in your online class session. At times, the settings are such that that might have to be done before. So that's very important. And given the number of user-specific settings, for example, in the Zoom, in Google Meeting, in Teams meeting right now, so we must do some settings beforehand. So at times it is very difficult to do the settings later on. So we have to be very careful while we are in the online mode as well. And you will want to really ensure that all the features you will be using have been enabled prior to your class, and some features that cannot be enabled that in your online class session have been launched. So I thank you all who are present here for the session. And in this time where small instructor-led classrooms tend to be the exception, electronic learning solutions can offer more collaboration and interaction with experts and peers, as well as a higher success rate than the live alternate. Let us all continue to keep our best foot forward. So if you have any questions to ask, please, floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. Very nice session. And I just want to reiterate what you said, that you have to be authentic and take up open-ended questions. Now, I think that's a beautiful point that you brought out, because most
Yes,
of the teachers they say that children are not participating, but the questions are being asked disclosed.
exactly.
So yeah, so that's a great way of interacting with the students and shifting of teacher roles. We are so used to giving lectures, and the other way, teachers are not ready to accept. So if you
Yes.
could give some more practical tips on how to create an open-ended question, or
Uh,
probably what you mean by
Yes, sir. This is a very good question that you've asked. Nowadays, CBSE is also promoting the questions related to case studies. So when you are putting up the case studies, so you are giving the option to the students to think in a wider way. So you're not just, yes, there are MCQ questions as well, but in the case studies, for example, that students are made to think about that, yes, what could be the answer to it. So when we are giving them the role play, etc., so that is also the time. Yes, you can have the activities. If you talk about language teachers, they could have that twist in a tale. All right. So yes, this is an old age tale. So you give it a new twist. How would it be? So it is not related only to the language. If I talk about my subject, social sciences, there also we say that go back into the history and such role that you wanted to play, and how would you have been taken this particular role. So I'm not you're just opening their creativity, you are making their horizon broaden their horizon. They are thinking, yes, only this is not the end, there is so much to it. So if anybody has any more answer to it, I am most welcome to learn. We are all learners here. So this is how I do, and this is what I do in my classroom. So I see something in the chat box. I'll just read. Okay. Correct, Richa ma'am. Yes. So we do the flip teaching. We ask them to, you take my place. Huh? You do up the PPT and you do the explanation. So much of learning has happened. So much of learning has happened. Yes, about the national leaders. Correct. Yes, when there's that fancy dress, they would be really motivated to know about it. If you ask them to speak 2-3 lines, that the were very famous from that particular leader, they would come up with some of the lines and would really want to know what was the context when those lines were said and why was it said. So that all makes a difference. Yes, Meena ma'am, making them presenter and explaining the activity, that's wonderful. Yes, exactly. This all really makes a difference. Okay, thank you very much. And I am open to more questions, please. And meanwhile, I will just paste here so the links so that you get your certificates. Yes, giving answers. You can have a quiz or some question and answer round where they pose questions to each other. It is not the teacher asking them, but they are preparing that. Oh, let me ask a hard question. The other side says, let me ask a harder one. So it is it's a win-win situation for you. It's a win-win situation for you. You are seeing your children, okay, they are playing, and in that play, in that quiz, they are learning so much. They are learning from each other. A debate, correct. Debate really helps the discussions and debates in the class. One says something and the other triggers it. It leads to big discussions. Yes, wonderful. Yes, making videos and mini movies. That really, yes, yes, Dipali ma'am. At times we forget. We are in a new system, so we thought that we are just using the tools. Yes, we are using the digi tools, but we should not forget our debates and discussions and role plays. Radio show activity, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, they really enjoy being the anchors, the RJs, and hosting and leading the team. It all makes a lot of difference, undoubtedly. Correct. So with the tools that we have, we should not forget our age-old methods also that we have been using. So I'll just share the certificate link, please. Just a moment, give me a minute. I'm just copying it. Yes, storytelling is a wonderful session. Yes, thank you, Matthew, sir. Yes, you've given us a platform to exchange ideas, to grow with each other. It really makes a difference. Please do not forget to take your certificate. The link is there in the chat box. And yes, like we expect our children to learn from each other with their peers, this platform is for us to learn with each other, from each other. So many activities you have already put in here. Thank you. I'm happy that you've gained something. Yes, I've also gained by participating in this session. Thank you. I hope all have filled in the form for the thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please fill in the form that has been, the link has been posted. Yes, thank you. Please let me know that you've taken the certificate. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. I will wait here for 2-3 more minutes. And if anybody has anything to ask, please feel free to ask. Thank you, dear Uche, for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear Nada. So happy to see you all. Thank you. Thank you, Lobna. Thank you for coming. So those who are coming late, I mean, who joined us now, so you can see there are thank you, Sandhya. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.